There you go.
And Jeffrey, there's no way for us to moderate the filming, so I'm sorry about, it just kind of does what it desires. It has a will of its own.
All right, we're recording, so let's start our November 2024 meeting of the Boulder Arts Commission. And hopefully we can get you guys out of here really quickly. Let's do an approval of the agenda. Someone would like to make a motion?
Aye.
Seconds?
I'll second.
All in favor of the agenda? That passes. I'll read the land acknowledgement. The city of Boulder acknowledges the city is on the ancestral homelands and unceded territory of indigenous peoples who have traversed, lived in, and stewarded lands in the Boulder Valley since time immemorial. These indigenous nations include the Apache, Arapaho, Cheyenne, Comanche, Pawnee, Shoshone, Sioux, and Ute. The city of Boulder recognizes that those now living and working on these ancestral lands have a responsibility to acknowledge and address the past and must work to build a more just future. And with that, we'll move on to approving the October 2024 meeting and retreat minutes. Ready to have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second? All in favor? We're just approving the retreat minutes.
Okay.
To vote or?
Sure.
In favor? Great, okay, unanimous. Wonderful. And I understand that we don't have anybody signed up for public participation and nobody here.
Is anybody online?
There's nobody online.
Okay.
All right, moving on to commission business. Additions there, other than our normal matters from commissioners.
We should talk about, Georgia wasn't at the retreat, so I think we should talk about the, how we want to move forward, the discussion on indigenous, land acknowledgement.
That is perfect. We have that under the next section.
Okay,
we will get to that.
Bring her up.
We'll fill you in on some of the takeaways. Okay, no commission business. We'll move on to matters from commissioners and liaison updates.
I met with Bit and had a nice chat. Talked about, some funding challenges, not just with the city, but like the larger sector. Frustrations and whatnot, but also perhaps future opportunities that could be presented.
I couldn't
So yeah,
hear
it
who
was
you
really
were,
nice meeting you.
Cheryl, I couldn't hear who you were speaking of. I'm
Oh,
not
I'm
sure
sorry.
who the owl is.
Okay, I have to talk to the owl.
Thank you.
The owl intimidates me. I met with Kathy and Robin from Boulder International Film Festival.
Oh, yeah.
Which is always a lovely meeting. But they're, they don't need a lot of support. They just have frustrations about funding in general, not particular to the city, like statewide. But also foresee that there could be opportunities presenting themselves. So optimistic about that, and yeah, good meeting. And I am going to see the Boulder Ballet my nutcracker with my parents next week, and my child.
This is an exciting time for BMOCA. I think Lauren, you just mentioned that. They have their final 3 shortlisted architecture firms. Interviews have happened. Tonight is the last presentation. Presentations are at BMOCA. And they had 150 folks signed up for tonight's presentation, so getting lots of public interest. And hopefully there'll be a recommendation and final selection for a team, probably in January, has to be approved by the board and go through that. So that's exciting. I can't remember if I told you all, I went to the Mahler Fest house concert and roll off. Did I tell you that? I can't remember. Roll out of next year. This sometimes forgot with the retreat. They have another fantastic year planned for next spring, so you'll have to been to the Mahler Fest. I think it's really fun. And, I did chat with Modus, this was probably in September, and followed up with Ethan from Mahler Fest. And Lauren, I sent you an email. You know, I think a lot of the organizations are confused by the bridge year funding, so I don't know if there's been another blast or update. I think that would be helpful on bringing them, up to speed or staying in touch with them. Maybe you've done that already. You just have time run.
Yes, I did send an email out. Somehow there is still confusion, so I guess I'll try and wordsmith that again to extra emphasize. But
Okay, great, thanks.
So yeah, sorry I'm late. I have been in a workshop with the Boulder Chamber today since 8 o'clock this morning.
Oh, my gosh.
The leading change was amazing. Harnessing the power of diversity, equity, and inclusion in business. So I took 3 workshops and then we had 2 presentations that were really, really impactful. There's so much information that I would like to bring to the commission about this, because I think that as we, one of the things I learned so many things, my brain is so fried right now. One of the things I learned is like, I know that we have our diversity DEI initiatives, and in order for us to, put that out to our organizations, we have to embody that ourselves. And we talked, just about a lot of things, the beloved community, fairness, creating safe spaces so that people can have perspectives and be safe and without punishment or consequences. With that being said, I also want to let you know I've had meetings in the last 2 months with Junie Joseph, who was on city council. She's one of the people that was on council that voted me on. She's now at the state level. I had a meeting with Taisha, who's also in the current city council. And I had a meeting, and she referred me to Maria, who is our city manager. I had a meeting with her last week. The Arts Commission, I have been on for a little over 4 years.
Are we still doing liaison updates right now, or are we
No,
going
this
into
is-
another topic?
This is just my updates.
Okay, can we finish I don't want to get too, I want to give you space to say what you want, but I feel like we're going a little off topic, and I want to finish up the liaison updates. And then can we come back to this? Would that work for you? Sure. Okay. Thank you. Did you have any more on the liaison updates?
No,
Jeffrey?
Did you have any? I've always got some.
I've got some, yeah.
Okay. I guess, thank you, Cheryl. As a reminder, I've got to meet with the BIF gals here coming up soon, on 2025 support. And then Maria, every time I see Ethan from, Mahler Fest, I let him know that, he has the biggest fan and advocate, for Mahler Fest on the commission as a liaison within you. So thank you for that. Shakespeare Festival, we've had our season announcement party for 2025. And we had the numbers for ticket sales and support for 2024 released. Because of the ongoing GOS, as well as a little extra love from CU in this year and next year, that's really how they're able to continue to operate in the black as they went through last year and this coming season without their 1,100 seat Mary Rippon Theater, which will be back bigger and better than ever in 2026. I met with Nancy Smith recently from Frequent Flyers. I'm not her particular liaison, but had a quick coaching session with her and got her connected to a number of other things, and we schemed on some fundraising and further programming ideas. I was entrusted through the team here at the Vitality Office to be one of 3 panelists on for the fundraiser summit with Carrie as well as Mark Reagan, and it was standing room only in that room that you're in right now. So thank you for entrusting me with that. I've met with leadership at local theater company on some of the really transformative work that they're doing on commissions, as well as their work within the schools, particularly the St. Vrain Valley School District, on a playwright series and how we can best amplify and support that. Creative Nations is being able to launch their first big fundraiser through a matching donation, which will take them through Colorado Gives Day. So that's exciting for them to be doing that on their own as well. And that's my updates.
I have 3 different updates. The first one is from Eco Arts, who says that the biggest thing that they're dealing right now with is trying to figure out what Trump is going to do about immigration, because they have a lot of mixed status families. But I thought it was worthwhile to read the 2 good things that they have as their takeaway for the situation. They had an interaction where Vinny Montez from the Boulder County Sheriff Department called to ask how everybody was doing and to work out some sort of presentation in January from the Sheriff's Department about how they're hoping to help the community with whatever comes out of the Trump administration. So they're working on that. And then they're working on a workshop with Sophie Chien, combining textile art with migration stories. So they've got some good programming to help them through that.
Okay, Carol, I'm sorry, you kind of rolled off your tongue quickly. Can you clarify what they have documented residents, or can you just?
Yeah, I'll
clarify
read that
more why
again,
there's a
sorry.
picture?
I
Sorry,
will-
I missed that. I think you said it.
Yeah, now I've closed my email and I have to find that. Give me a moment.
Mixed status.
It was mixed status.
That's families with mixed documentation.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you. I hadn't
So
heard
some
that.
undocumented members of the family.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that term. Thank
we have so many mixed status families we work with who are terrified about having their families split up.
Thank you.
Then I heard from Third Log Dance, who just had their dance for Parkinson's program, and that went off really, really well. And I wanted to read one portion of it, of their little report out. Each dancer was prompted to generate movement material that was both externally and internally initiated to complement the motivation behind their guests' work. And they did that by rendering into dance movement connections, not only to systems within their bodies, but to connections with their past and geographically where they were from. And it's just sounded really like a cool program. And you went to that
Yeah,
also?
it was excellent, yeah. There was a performance about the dance Parkinson's too before the performance by the professional dancers. It was really well done.
So it sounds like that was really great. And then finally, KGNU is moving forward. They are on track for Q4 occupation certificate of occupancy in the end of 2025 on their new space. And they offered to have me and whoever else from the commission wants to go and do like a hard hat walkthrough. And they could do that Monday or Wednesday if anybody wants to join me on one of those days. Just reach out, and if it's more than is allowable, we'll just get another group together. Just reach out or tell me after the meeting.
So Mike, which building is this?
This is KGNU is doing the build out on their building, and I'll read a little bit. He had a really good description of what they're
like-
hoping.
In local places, and it's on the street right now.
Yeah,
It used to be a. What was it? Nice gaming? Oh, next to it.
okay, yeah.
Okay.
It's behind.
Oh, the ice rink.
Yeah.
Yeah, behind it.
So the facility that they're building, he says, will have ample, accessible and rentable community and cultural space. a 70 to 100 person black box style flexible performance space with audio, video, and broadcast capabilities, a rooftop patio and meeting events room, a community cafe, and co-working space, including flexible media training space. They're excited to be considered in a recent City of Boulder affordable commercial pilot grant program. And they're going to be working with our office and the commission to provide some mural space. And there's a lot of exciting stuff going on over there. So by the end of next year, gonna be a full spot. We can go take a tour.
Are they part of the venues program?
I don't know. I think that's a great question.
The black box
You know,
sounds
yeah.
fantastic.
If that is already part of the venues program, or
What's the, sorry.
the space that they're building,
Black box
the
theater.
70 to 100, are they on your
So
radar?
the
Oh, yeah, they're
venues-
definitely on our radar. And I wanna go see it though. I haven't like done the hard hat tour. I'll go.
Yeah.
And I can keep an eye on everybody too. I think we can go as a group as long as we're not discussing anything formal, but I can also go in and track.
Awesome.
Um,
Okay. So that'll wrap up liaison updates and
One
then.
other real quick thing, sorry, on
Yeah.
liaison updates. When you mentioned third law, it also reminded me of something else that I'd spoken with Nancy Smith over at Frequent Flyers. They're renting and have been for years, two big spaces over by the Valmont post office. And it's not being used during the weekdays. And they do have folks like Third Law and a couple other organizations come in, but not really enough to really show much monetizing for that space that they're paying for anyway. So I'm going to go look at the space the first week of December. She's putting together some information for me, and then I'm going to send it all along to us as well, but I'm going to start sending it to some other folks saying, hey, they have this space. They're charging less than anyone else in town. Can you use it during business hours during weekdays? Once I go see and see what the capabilities of the facility are. But I think that's a great opportunity for them to just build a revenue stream.
Thank you.
So
Awesome.
thank you for mentioning that.
Okay, back to Georgia. You had started to, I'm assuming that it's something that we could fit under the commission business and before on the agenda.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay,
Well, I can talk about it and if you stop me again to put somewhere else. I can do that as well.
let's put it in there.
Okay, so as I was saying, I had meetings with the three individuals, Ginny, Joseph, Taisha, and Nuria, our city manager. Reason being because Arts Commission has always been something that I loved and enjoyed and felt like I was working with a really righteous group of people who were supporting the arts in our community. I have not felt that way this year at all. And it's a big concern to me. And I brought what I've been witnessing to these people and letting them know that I don't want to be on the commission anymore because of the way I've been treated this year. And the things that I brought up was the Boulder Ballet budget situation. This was a grant that was written, basically, I hope that there can be some training for commissioners to be able to recognize when organizations are utilizing marginalized populations to get grants for money. Also, my question has always been, to what standard are we holding organizations when we're funding them? Because, again, bringing up Lance Harding, his experience when he came in and spoke about how he was treated as a person of color by Boulder Ballet, and how I was treated as a person of color by Boulder Ballet, because I worked there for 3 years. I started so many programs. I wrote the curriculum for the school. I was the person to bring it up to the school director because I was subbing classes from babies up to the point that there was no consistency between the classes. And this is a school that's been open for 40 years that had no curriculum. So I was the one that pointed out, I wrote the curriculum. And then a few months later, I got an email from the school director saying, have you finished it? Because I've hired an assistant and we're gonna take it and we're gonna use it. And there was no opportunity for me to, I spoke with Claudia, I was like, why wasn't I, let to know that there was this position open? They are a nonprofit, they should be, equity employers. And I said, why wasn't I should have at least had the opportunity to apply, given the work that I'm doing in a school. And I was told that this other woman was just doing the work and it kind of fit, and they just created the position for her, and that she's a friend of theirs who is a white woman who already has a job at CU. So this is part of systemic racism that keeps opportunity only to a certain group of people. And so just with that knowledge, like, where are our standards as far as who we are funding, especially when we have DEI initiatives in our community cultural plan. And when I left the school, there were so many parents that were calling, upset that I was leaving, because I was a very beloved teacher there, and they were like, when can she come back? Or at least can we have another person of color as a teacher in the school, because there were people that were bringing their kids all the way from Erie to be in my class. They were children of color, so that they could see people of color in leadership position. And I knew this because both Andrea and Claudia called me and said, we have so many people complaining, like, what should we do? And they often called me for advice on how to do their positions and run the school, with them being paid and having positions and me volunteering my information. And I said, well, I can come back with these two exemptions. I didn't want to work one class at a time, and I didn't want to work on Saturdays. I was offered one class on Wednesday and one class on Saturday. So I said, I'm not going to be there, and they filled my position with two white women and offered me $12 an hour to train them. So I think that it's important to, like I said, form a standard of like who we are funding. The other thing, there were three things that I brought up in my meetings. The second piece was the situation with the dairy and my low scores and how I was treated, and creating a space of belonging, and that what was the word that we were using this afternoon? Psychological safety. Or were you in that workshop? Okay, this is Craig. He is with the Boulder Chamber. He's part of our equity amplification program. I've also brought this to that program and NAACP. He's here for my support, so that I'm not the only person of color in the room, as I always have been. So thank you for being here. Yeah, psychological safety, where someone can share their perspective and not have punishment and consequence, and that it stays in the room and that it doesn't go out into the community. Which is what I experienced in that situation, having mean-spirited emails being sent around about me by other commissioners and their spouses. That should not be something that's happening in my with the knowledge that I had about being on a board. I'm appointed here by City Council because of my level of experience and education in the arts. And the last piece that I brought up is biases within the commission for organizations. And I think that I know that Jeffrey, and I've brought this up before, has admitted that he's friends with everyone on the board at the dairy. He's friends with them. He's worked with them all before he's been on the board. And if he's was treated as I was treated and was, being asked for a $1,500 fee to be on the board, then he also has a financial interest in the organization, and for him to be voting on the grants, I think there's a conflict of interest there. Oh, the last piece was, the board appointments. Last year, the conversation was between Caroline and I. Caroline's response was, I could do it or not, you know. I'm happy to do it, but it doesn't matter. And Bruce wanted me to be chair. And I was open to it. Jeffrey appointed Caroline. And then Bruce appointed me. And he said to have the intention of me becoming chair next year to be the first person of color as chair on the Arts Commission. That's what he said. I don't know the history of it, so I don't know if that's actually true. But, and then what we experienced this year is Caroline reappoints herself. And then it's for chair, it's between Jeffrey and I, and Jeffrey is appointed. And I'm given the excuse that, it's because my term is ending. That's why I'm not reappointed. But Carolyn and I are on the same timeline, so I'm not sure why it's okay for her to hold her position when she's leaving at the same time that I would.
Can I just ask a question to clarify the language, since this is being recorded,
Sure.
and that I was nominated, you were nominated, that we weren't, I wasn't appointed by Jeffrey, I was nominated by Jeffrey, is that what I mean?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And so that's very concerning to me. That it feels like the room can't handle a person of color in a leadership position, and so it was just kind of manipulated in a way. And I think that it's, you know, knowing that Jeffrey has missed a large number of meetings in the year that he was here, to the point that Carolyn and I had asked Lauren, how many meetings can a commissioner miss before they're no longer on the commission, that is the person that would be chosen to be put in the leadership position on the commission. So those were the things that I brought up. And they're being looked into. My hope is that we can grow and be a better example for our community, building community trust when this sort of thing is going on. It doesn't give a lot of confidence to the other artists of color in town to operate and apply for grants.
Thank you. I think, I'll open it to the floor. I want to keep the comments like short. I don't think it's the time or the forum today to sort of dig into solutions, but thank you for sharing. That was very well organized and I took some notes on it. I do know from my perspective that I hear and I have been hearing what you have brought as concerns. And I know that there are some of the ways, and we're going to talk about it in a couple minutes, some of the things that came out of the retreat that may start to address them. It's a long process to turn the ship and continue to try and turn the ship. And thank you for some guidance on a direction that would help people in your, you know, with your perspective to get on a better track. I know that we're going to have space after next year for really making substantive changes to things that may impact how things like you said about who what's the standard that we're holding organizations to. That's all stuff that we can start to dive into after the transition year in 2025, as we have the new grant money and can really have some impact on what questions we're asking and what sort of information we're getting back. Those are my initial thoughts, but I'll open the floor if anybody else has feedback or comments. And then I do have a follow-up question.
Well, I do think Georgia brought up some great points. I think that's why, at least I know I asked for more training on some of those issues. That's why we had the training. And I think we need to find a way to track and measure how we're working for on many of these issues. I think we have to I appreciate your list, but I think we have to find a way to maybe step back even further and make sure we understand exactly what we're trying to measure and then track it. So that we can continue to grow.
There was a speaker today that did an amazing job that I'm hoping that we can get in here. He does training, EI training. I took 2 of his workshops today. Bill De La Cruz. And I have his information, but yes. And others. He just was like, hands down, I think, because I've listened to so many meetings and read so many books, and he brought so much information into a small, like, it just a shorter amount of time, you know, because it's such a huge, yeah. So I hope that we can have him in here.
I want to say I'm sorry that you've had this experience. I've been hearing you have this experience. I don't know. Say other than like I agree that we need to work harder. I'm sorry that you felt that same. And I'm hearing you say we, which is making me hope that until the end of your term, you're going to stay to help us. That's what I'm saying up to you. But thank you.
Yeah, I haven't been here the last 2 meetings because the last several meetings that I have been, I can't get out of bed the following day. You know, and because it's exhausting. And so I'm here because not for me, but for my children and my grandchildren and other people. And I'm finishing my term because Junie and Taisha and Mira asked me to. They said they know it's hard, Junie especially. She was like, yeah, they're gonna beat you up. It's gonna be really hard. It's gonna suck. You're gonna cry. She's like, you have to keep doing it. And I know, and I'm doing it for the people who did it for me, before me. You know, there are people who have lost their lives for the freedom that I had as a Black woman.
Dr., anything you wanna add?
Nope, I'm glad meetings recorded and past and present ones, so.
Thank you. I've taken notes. Well, I think we're all feeling that we want to do better. Make things feel safer for you. How can we do that as a commission within the scope of what we have the power to do, and as humans within the scope of what we have the power to do, and bring it to us.
So can the one question be answered? Like, why am I told that I couldn't? Because Junie Joseph is a lawyer. I told her about the vice chair and chair position, and she said the natural progression is for the vice chair to become the chair. And so I'm just curious why, like, what happened in there, and why I'm told that because my term is ending and that it wants to be, you know, that it was actually you guys that said it to me, you know, that you wanted consistency. And so I'm just curious why it's not okay for me, but it's okay for Kevin.
I feel like, I think I recall saying that, and I feel like it was important for one person to be consistent and have one person turn around. think that's just what we're thinking at the time. In-depth information about that. I thought Carolyn was doing a great, I also nominated Carolyn for the chair, but she's doing a great job. So, I don't have any more to say about that. Just that I thought it was good for one person to be consistent and one person to roll.
But the person that you're saying is consistent has missed many meetings. Person that you really did.
I don't have a kept track for once, and it's, sorry. And I really didn't weigh in on that, at that discussion.
Trying to recall, I feel like the conversation was about chair first and we voted on chair first.
It is.
Yeah, so we, like the nominations for vice chair hadn't come up, so the conversation about the consistency wasn't presented in Caroline. I mean, I didn't think of it at the time. That could be on me. So. That I have, I mean, is there something bigger than that? I'm not denying there could be, but I haven't accessed it. Acknowledge that I should.
Because the other thing that happened is like a person of color in a leadership position was removed and replaced by a white male.
Lauren, do you have the commission's DE&I initiative or statement that is part of the application process in front of you that you could read?
No, I'm sorry, the commission statement on cultural equity, I also don't have that, I'm sorry. I don't have a computer in front of me.
It's framed in terms of marginalized people, is that right?
The commission statement on cultural equity follows the cities, which is closer aligned to race equity in particular, because it's still the biggest predictor of any kind of like outcomes in society, right? Like your educational level, your housing level, your income levels. The commission statement within the grant program is more broad, very specifically to say, you know, how does your programming work in relation to the statement on cultural equity that the commission builds? But then it broadens out to say diversity of all kinds within the grant program specifically.
So it could be age, it could be male and female, or everything in between.
Yeah.
It could be Asian, it could be Black, it could be brown, it could be a gay man or someone who is trans or LGBTQ. We
Right.
all fit that. We're all on the same team.
Yes, please.
I didn't want to interrupt. First, like, I thank you very much for bringing this forward. And staff wants to support the commission to make sure that this is addressed and improve how effective you can be. You know, with the business you have to have, so that's really important. So I appreciate that. I did want to address one small thing. I have no answers. Usually I don't. But the practice of the commission has not been to have a prescribed progression that is based on seniority. It's been the practice for a very long time to have this nomination discussion in order to set the chair. That is different from other boards and commissions. There are several who operate like we do. There's several that operate by seniority. And so I just wanted to point out that that's not the history here, but that's not the predictor of what's best. So I just want to make it clear that the rules were followed to go the way that it's prescribed, not that that's a guarantee. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you again. And if you feel complete, we'll move on to the next agenda. Okay. All right, so we are at the commission work items, and I think this is a really good transition.
Yes.
Because this is for the bridge year, this is some outcomes from our retreat in terms of what we as a commission wanted to be working on, and then Lauren's gonna break it down a little bit further. And so again, this is focusing on 2025 and after the bridge, the quote unquote bridge year, then we're also going to have another bite at the apple in terms of more impactful, long-term ways that some of these issues can be integrated into the grants and public art programs and the like.
Yes.
But
Thank you. So at the retreat, we talked through your commission kind of wish list of work items, right? Things that you think were of interest, that you want to work on, that you want to work on with staff or independently. And I went through all of them. Thank you so much, Lisa, also for the excellent notes, because it was a very big discussion, more than I think any commission. You have big, high hopes and dreams. And we broke it up in a few different ways. And I have the much longer list that I want to just list up a couple of things. And then this is what I think for today, because we're also missing a couple of people, but to start thinking about what specifically you as commissioners want to work on in the future. And I'll remind you that now we have a grants panel. So you will have a little bit more time to work on things and time and energy, right? But let me first briefly, so when we went through the minutes and the retreat discussion, there were some topics that were on our work plan already, which is great because we can say like, check, we are happy to do that. And then there were some that are out of the scope of the commission, right? That are being worked on in the community, but we cannot work on, or the commission can't necessarily work on as an entity, as a group. And there's some also that we've been talking to the Boulder Arts Blueprint consultants specifically about how they can help us, including some of the topics that you just brought up. So for things on the staff's work plan, supporting organizations with the grants process, for example, if you were talking to somebody, an individual, an artist organization, have them come talk to us, and we're happy to have them talk to Sarah. I say the royal we now. Come talk to Sarah, and she will happily meet with anybody that wants to learn about the grant program. We have a new round of our grant writing fund, right? $500 to help somebody apply for one of our competitive grants. I encourage people listening to investigate that too. Our venue study. So the venue study went out. It is going to both venue utilizers and venues themselves. That will be we'll be getting data and giving it to the Blueprint team, but then also have our own report in a couple months. Cultural organization summits with CBCA, for example, we'll host one in the future. We're talking through that. Marketing grants to STEAM programs. Sarah's been reaching out specifically at your guidance to STEAM programs to pull in applicants that are working a little bit more field than arts programming. Bringing in a representative to discuss how to review report budgets, which is what Georgia just mentioned. We will have Deb come in January, February, thank you. So we'll be inviting commissioners and the new grant panel, so you can meet them as well, but to talk through looking at budgets, both for applications and looking at report budgeting, right? So you can talk through what you're looking for, what might be something that might alarm you, like things that are under minimum wage, like paying people under minimum wage, like mentioned, talking through specifics. So everybody, the panel and yourselves are all on the same page about looking at budgets when they come through the grants program. We're sending funding opportunities to you to share. I do need to talk through that, make sure it's not overwhelming, because we actually have quite a few of them, I'm happy to say, and upcoming deadlines and things into our manager's memo, which I will do. And then I'll leave this for last. There were a couple things that are out of the scope of the commission and sadly kind of out of our scope. One is a cultural calendar. So Boulder County Arts Alliance has a centralized calendar that we guide everybody to, just because the city is not equipped to manage a functioning calendar, like a website in that way. I encourage you to send everybody that you know to go use that calendar. They're also renovating their website, so I think it's going to be a lot more user friendly, which I think is one of the challenges at this moment. Any kind of policy cheerleading and support and advocacy, I can do it as an individual, but as staff, we have a limitation on what we can do, right? I also encourage you to join. CBCA has a arts advocacy, what is it called? Arts Advocacy League. No, it's an acronym. Network, thank you, network. We can send you the email. They have excellent updates about statewide advocacy opportunities, et cetera, et cetera. And then civic area planning and the comp planning process. Please give us your input. I send out your surveys. Let us know, if you're interested in like their upcoming steps. But we can give that information to you, but having the commission come together and go to them is challenging, as you well know.
Yes, can you please keep us up to date on that?
Yeah.
Steps.
Yes, happy to. And the comp plan stuff too, because we're overlapping with some artists in that, which is gonna be great. Yeah. I hope you did the survey that we sent. It's always, it's surveys and
Yes.
meetings, you know. Kind of a lean-in process, you know what I mean? Finally, some things that are going to be integrated into the blueprint process. So I've asked our, I call them the cats, which is terrible, but it's public sphere, public sphere projects and Puma and PSP, their acronym sounds like, you know, like that, right? So I've been calling them the cats, Puma and anyways, the cats, they agreed to that too. They are going to also be looking for, in their research on other, like other cities that they're doing comparative research, they're gonna be looking for how other cities are supporting their tribal nations and their artists, indigenous artists. DEI best practices in grant programs and other best practices for arts commissions in other cities. Connecting youth with arts opportunities, which is like always been a challenge for us. So how do other cities do that really well? And then how to, which is the biggest question ever, how to address systemic racism throughout programs. And I think it goes back to, well, what are other cities doing? What are other arts commissions doing? What are other arts institutions doing that we can learn from them, since we have people doing research for us too, right? And then finally, if I didn't miss anything, I probably did. It was a really good conversation. Thank you. But I'll go up to the commission work items. And these items are ones that, these are not in the staff work plan. But we are happy to support with time and meetings and communications and organizing committees, right? There is a hope that we organize committees in part, and then we do trainings. We don't want to like overbook you all too, or have like very, very long commission meetings. We want to do some work behind the scenes and maybe do a training every other month, or, you know, like we need to spread it out and have it focused. We can, obviously, I would be the point for those, and I would help find, I want your list from the trainings that you were with today with the chamber, for example. Other recommendations of other people to speak to in the community would be wonderful, and then I can help organize those and pay for them, right? And I think for this evening, but this is up to the chair, of course, that if you want to just think through if there's anything missing on this list that would fall into that realm of things that the commission wants to work on, if you want to form any committees, if you want to wait and talk through it in January, when we still haven't, won't have the grant program up and running, so we might have a little bit slower meeting in January too, but who knows? It's sort of up to you on how you want to prioritize these items.
Yeah, what my thought was on it,
Yeah.
and I'm open to discussion, but because we can take some time, we have December, we're gonna talk about whether or not we're having the December meeting or not. But the beginning of the year may be a good time for us to have gathered our thoughts around prioritizing what we've identified as areas that we want to work on, because we're gonna have a busy year and a transition year next year, so we're not gonna be able to do everything. So we as a group need to figure out what are the top priorities, and what can we do some extra work on through committees. And I think if we talk about that in depth in January, but give it some thought until then, that was my suggested timeline. That makes sense for everybody else.
That makes sense. I wonder if I could ask Lauren a couple questions.
Sure.
Can you remind me, Lauren, the cultural summit, which I think is wonderful. How do you set the topic for that? And I really liked the year where we were doing some work on artists that were getting bullied, and then you also had that as part of the summit. So if there's a way to dovetail,
Oh, yeah.
commission's work into kind of a culmination like that.
Oh, yeah, I
Why
think that's a
see how you
wonderful idea.
Take those topics.
By popularity and what we're hearing in the community of interest. So We just had one about fundraising that Sarah managed, and that was the one that was standing room only in here.
I sent out a survey after asking people
Yeah.
what they wanted the next topic to be, and I didn't receive many responses, but I received 3, so
Yeah,
at least for that question.
and I think it does well when there is more background information, and then that's like a culminating public event, instead of asking people to a commission meeting, and, you know, it's a little more fun.
So I think that's, Carolyn, I think that's good too, is to structure our commission's work and then have some type of public rollout. So that those things dovetail together. As a suggestion. And I think then my second question is there any discretionary dollars for anything that we do, you know, it's like, I'll just throw an idea. I said, not that it means anything, but you know, if we want to have some indigenous artists do some work, are there any discretionary dollars? that we could-
Yes, we have budget for those to pay honorariums to anybody presenting and anybody, certainly like any artists that are presenting as part of those. Yeah, it's not a lot, but it is honorarium, so we can figure out what works for them, so as artists, yeah.
So I would suggest that, Carolyn, is that we have some outcomes, you know, some goals and targets where we're trying to meet and some tangible outcomes. I think that will help motivate us to meet and move things along. And then I think we need to include, respect what Georgia's saying, we need to include like more, I don't know how you want to frame this, Georgia, but also just on the DEI, let me read what you first said. You know, the standards of who we're funding, you know, so our DEI standards. I'm trying to say this in a simple way, but I think we need to include another line item here to Georgia sharing with us.
Oh, yes, certainly. Sorry, sorry, yes. I'm really curious too about if anybody is seeing presentations directly related to like you said that you had gone to presentations today, right? Like we have our city resources and we have worked with the equity project that we held last year. We held a whole series. That's another thing I should mention. So last year we held that series with the equity project for leaders of nonprofit arts communities, right? And that was something that stemmed from the discussion from the commission. But if it's not something that you feel like you want to do specifically, or you feel like is of interest to the broad community, we can also seek funding or like put away funding specifically for programs. Like we think it would be of interest to individual artists to learn how to like improve their website. That's a very silly example, but something like that where you can make a recommendation and we can build it out as like with more community involvement too. So it's not necessarily the commission solely working on the commission, right?
Websites were actually brought up today when we were talking about, hiring, people of color, or just like diversity.
For accessibility too is a huge thing right now, because the state mandated that all governments our websites have to be accessible to readers. So it's a big deal, and I think it would be recommendable for everybody in the arts community to go that direction too, right? So I think there's some work in that direction. Was it something like that about making websites accessible, or was it like who you're hiring to manage the website?
Actually, we had a panel that was answering questions and it was really diverse. And so we were just asking them questions, and some part of the conversation was like, so when people of marginalized populations are looking for jobs and they're looking on the company website, what are they looking for? So our, what was I can't remember what this person considered. They said he looks for pronouns, like if there's, you know, the executive, whatever, underneath the name, if he sees pronouns and he says, oh, they understand me. And then, you know, everyone went down the line and said like what they look for. That's great, you know, and the person from NAACP said that they look for more than one Black person. Because if there's one, then that's the token. And like, there are things that, you know, we talk about amongst ourselves, like when we're looking for things. that everyone else may not know. But there was a woman that did a presentation. It was the Pillsbury Theater presentation. And I think that, did you see that?
Yeah.
What was her name, Michelle? I'm trying to find it. Okay, but she worked with the theater company that George Floyd was murdered right outside of. And they did this presentation and it was really, really good, thorough, entertaining. We can say it was entertaining, and it explains things. It explained a lot that I think would really help, but it's, yeah, we'll have to get in touch with Michelle because it's not, you can't find it anywhere. It's very locked. Yeah, and like when we were watching it, we had to put our phones away, like no one was spotting people.
I'm glad there was value found in the chamber event today. I sent two of my team to that, so I know they were looking forward to that. And the chambers worked really hard on putting that that production together. Going back to the pronouns conversation, the very first time I really had a chance to understand that impact as a gay man of a certain age was probably back in 2016 or 2017. Because I'd led the DE&I charge at my previous company, as well as initiating all of our ERG and our DE&I initiatives where I work now. And I was the first person in the company to include my pronouns within my email signature. And we had a scholarship grantee reception that year. I think it was 2017. And we had 30 scholars, high school scholars from across the footprint of that organization. And there were 5 of those 30 who came up to me and physically embraced me at the event because I was the first person from a corporate entity who had sent them emails to let them know about the logistics of the upcoming event that included pronouns within my name. And they all identified, they just kind of outed themselves and identified themselves. I'm thinking that's nearly 20% of the scholars from that year. And that just still sticks with me as something that was meaningful then and continues to be meaningful.
There's something to be said for marketing website, like how you're presenting yourself to the public, kind of, and the language and the accessibility, that kind of topic, right? Like, or that kind of discussion. Right?
What's the impact report? How are they activating their employee resource groups? Do they have employee resource groups?
So I have the name,
Oh, thank
Michelle Campbell. She's the founder. There's a whole bio, but she also had a company called, thank you, Read, REAG, and then the other one was, Reach, sorry. So much information. Do you remember what the other one, diversity something? Anyways, we have, yeah, there were a lot of resources there.
That's great.
I'm sure you can get from, John Thayer.
Take
So is your list part of what got sent out as part of the packet?
Yes,
The
it was
list
in the
that we just
packet.
read out? Yeah.
Yes, and I
So
can add on.
all the topics, and then she's taken notes on what we're gonna add.
Yes,
Give some thought, give some further thought as to what you would like to prioritize. And then we can start narrowing down, focusing in on what can actually get done next year reasonably, and do some work on it.
can I make a suggestion? Sure. Could I send out, because we also are missing a couple of people. I could send out this list with some updates to it. If you want to tell me your top 2 priorities or something, it'll help us like narrow it down, I think, because it's just so much. You're all
Yeah.
very, you have big goals. Thank you.
I'd also like to hear if you have suggestions for the cultural organization summit too.
Oh, for that. Cool. Thank you.
So we'll solicit that and organize our thoughts in December, maybe customer soon to be decided in January. Okay. Any other topics from the community? December meeting. Are we going to do
Yes.
a December meeting?
So it is up to all of you, but I will say that in the past, we have generally not held a December meeting because unless we have anybody that has turned in a report and they ask that you read the report because they need the money, basically, they need the last 20%, right? In the last few years, when I reached out and said, are you able to wait until January? Would that cause me hardship? Everybody has been like, no, it's okay, but we always want to make sure that is at the organization's discretion and not the commission's, because, we promise a certain amount of things in our grant program, right? And one of them is just consistency. So, if Sarah has agreed to do this, we have agreed to do this, that, if anybody turns in a report between now and the week before, we'll reach out and we'll see if they are okay to wait until January. We can have a very nice conversation with them, and it's totally cool if they cannot wait, and we'll have like a very quick online 15-minute meeting with the grant reports, basically. I mean, maybe your minutes, you do have to have public participation, and we can keep it as short. We can work with the chair just to have like basically looking at reports and online chill. Does that work for everybody? Is that all right?
What, yeah, what's the date it would be if it was online?
December 18th, Wednesday, December 18th, yeah.
Sarah. Thank you.
Pretty short grant program matters today. Last meeting, the commission requested more information about attendance numbers from the events from Val Foundation, and so those numbers were provided to me, and I included them in the manager's update. This month we have Streetwise Arts and Junkyard Social that both turned in reports for consideration. As a reminder, you can approve both reports, approve individual reports while submitting some specific questions, postpone approval of individual reports pending the answers to specific questions, and or not approve individual reports, cancel the final payments.
Anybody like to make a motion?
I'll admit, I'm sorry, I missed the email with this report, so my mistake for not reading.
Then I move that we approve the grant reports from Streetlight Arts and Junkyard Social. Second?
I second that. I always initiate them, which is why I was letting someone else start this one.
And I thought we.
Okay. All in favor? All abstaining?
Yeah, along with my peers.
Okay. Great, thank you. Any comments that you want to put on the record about grants? I can say, I was really impressed, with Streetwise about how many, collaborations they had. I thought that was a really great, model. And, Junkyard, I just think it was a really cool program. I would also like to see, just as a very informal thing, how many people actually came, because they did mention they didn't have as many as they would have liked, but they want to improve every year. So I just wanted to get a sense of where they were this year in terms of attendance for youth event. Yeah.
I'm happy to reach out to them again. Great. So we have the 2025 grant program is ready to preview. And as of now, the following grants are open and you are able to apply for them. General operating support grants, again, for those that were not previously awarded in the last year. Community project grants, arts education project grants, the leadership pipeline fund, and then scholarships for Boulder Arts Week are open right now too. And we have the summit coming up December 11th with fellow funders discussing opportunities for the next year. And that'll be at Chautauqua Community House. I toured it today. I'm really excited. It looks like a very welcoming and cozy space. And then we have 2 info sessions, one tomorrow morning. We have 1 RSVP. And then another online that will have Spanish interpretation on December.
I was planning to come tomorrow morning. If there's anybody else who would really like to come in addition or instead of, I'm happy to step back from that.
And
I've already got another board meeting at that time because it's death by board meetings this week.
I would say that the person that's coming tomorrow worked for the city of Boulder in the Office of Arts and Culture for 15 years, so I don't think.
Okay.
We
I
can
will
answer
pick it
her
up. Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, and I guess on Zoom, is that gonna be a recorded session from tomorrow? So,
Tomorrow will not be recorded, but the one on the 11th and then the 12th will both be recorded.
okay. So would you like to have somebody come to the December 12th Zoom from the commission?
I think it would be great to be, but we can check on RSVPs later too. But we might get more actually on the 11th, so we can keep it on.
I'll keep it.
We have 60 RSVPs for that.
For the 11th.
And counting, yeah.
Good job.
Why don't you reach out to me tomorrow if you would benefit from me coming anyway, and then on for the December 12th, let us know if I have a commissioner participate in that one.
Yeah.
We'll figure out who that would be.
Wonderful.
Oh, and please spread the word that we're seeking applications for panelists as well.
I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Please spread the word that we're seeking applications from panelists. And
Okay, great.
I
Thank
have
you.
a media kit, if you'd like it. If you have an organization that wants to share that out, I can send that to you as well.
Panelists for,
The grant panel. To review grants next year.
commissioners.
No. The grant.
They recommend grants for the commission too.
That's
Right.
been, that may not be very clear, because it's something that's happened over the last couple meetings, is that they are moving forward on getting a grants panel. Which meeting can she find all the criteria?
Probably the September meeting and the October, but the September meeting is that big here with the whole grant program. But this is the paid grant panel that they'll have. We can send information to, actually, and we should send it to the chamber also.
We also have a live
With your
website.
contact the chamber. Sorry?
The website's also live.
Oh,
for
great.
that page.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Like,
Sarah, reach out to me if you need contacts at any of the chambers of commerce across the county.
So what we're hoping also is that we're taking all of the grant reading off of our plates, that'll allow us more time and flexibility to focus on kind of bigger picture issues and how those grants are set up and more directly to the points that you brought up, how we address that.
Yeah, I remember this from,
Yeah, okay.
we spoke about this, like this summer.
Great. Cool. All right, any questions about the manager's memo? Great. Let's adjourn our
Wait,
meeting then.
I have
Go ahead.
something to say, which I should have
Sure.
put in other topics from the community. Brown sugar nut cracker has been canceled for 2024. But
I'm sorry to hear that.
that there was not enough, I didn't have enough dancers.
All right.
Last year's, here's my vision and here's what happened. And so it was going and it started leaning this way and I was like,
Well, I
put it
hope,
down. Shut
yeah, we'll ask you next year if you're planning to try again next year. I really enjoyed that.
You would really enjoy what was sending.
The vision.
The actual vision.
Awesome.
Dreams don't have a demo. I stole that from someone. Who stole it from someone? And I know, but I can't remember either of the two people that said it before me, but.
It's like something you'd say.
All right, let's adjourn this meeting.
Oh,
I gotta run.
I've got one more thing, but
Yeah.
it's helping Caroline. So my mother was